Well, when my father was reverse engineering in theory what the German scientists were telling him, he asked them a question. How the heck did you develop this? And they looked at him straight-faced and all one by one, because he questioned them individually. They said, we got it from aliens. And then his next question was, did you ever meet these aliens? And they said, no, but our commanding officers did. And my dad was kind of unconvinced, but later in his life, he said, Dave, I think we were dealing with fallen entities out of heaven. In other words, the third of the angels that rebelled. He said, that's who I think was contacting these Germans.
Well, and I will tell you this, Herman Oberth made that statement, and this is one of the things that I'm hoping to bring out at Branson. Let me just read one thing. This is one of the rough translations, okay? This is talking about, if you're going to understand this is talking about the time of, good night, probably 10, 12,000 BC, and it was in Mohenjo, Mohenjo, Daro, Pakistan. And this is what's interesting, because today the level of radiation is still high. But I'm going to quote, a single projectile charged with all the power in the universe, an incandescent column of smoke and flame as bright as 10,000 suns, rose in all its splendor. It was an unknown weapon, an iron thunderbolt, a gigantic messenger of death, which reduced to ashes an entire race. The corpses were so burned as to be unrecognizable. Their hair and nails fell out. Pottery broke without any apparent cause, and the birds turned white. In other words, it turned instantly to white ash. After a few hours, all foodstuffs were infected. To escape from this fire, the soldiers threw themselves into the river. Now, again, what you're talking about is that people literally drop dead in their tracks, okay? And what we're talking here about is basically the glass that was fused by that extreme temperature and extreme weapons was, 1,500 degrees centigrade. And what people have a really hard time understanding is that that's why Hitler and his Ahnenerbe, which is what they were called, were searching the world for all sorts of ancient weapons, and also they were looking for Ultima Thule, the great frozen wasteland of the, if you will, the Aryan warriors, and that's how they ended up in at the South Pole in the Antarctica, because they tried the North Pole, and that's how the whole, if you will, the whole information started flowing, and the Germans set up a complete industrial base in Antarctica, which exists today, but they claim they ran into the entities, and it was the entities who brought them there.
It's
I'm talking about non-human entities.
I know what you're talking about, and believe me, I know. If you recall, Steve, about 5 years ago, I was writing about military competition at the North Pole. And I left Antarctica out of it because there was so much activity at the North Pole, and the UN was rewriting who owns what at the various poles, and Russia was the most aggressive force. And this is beginning to surface again, but I'm getting this information from clergy, and what they're telling me is they are unearthing, how do I put this, demonic entities. Demonic entities living in stasis are now being reanimated. Have you heard anything about this?
Well, sure, and by the way, it's not the demons, it's the giants, okay? Demons are the disembodied spirit of the giants. My source for that is the New Testament, my source for that is the Book of Enoch, and my source for that is the Book of Giants. But this is where the confusion comes, Dave, in the terms of Nephilim, Rephaim, and demons, okay? Demons, when Jesus cast them out of a man, the Gadarene demoniac, it was a human being, they begged Jesus, and they talked to Jesus, and they basically had this sense of time, and they asked him, have you come to torment us before our time? And they begged to go into the pigs. Remember the story? They went into the pigs. Jesus allowed them. The pigs ran off the cliff and drowned in the water. But there's three words that are confused by people. The word Nephilim, okay, and there are people that claim to be Hebrew scholars that say, well, it doesn't mean that at all, and that there are Hebrew scholars written hundreds of years ago that say, no, this is what it means. It's only used twice in the Old Testament, once before the flood, Genesis 6, and once after the flood, Numbers 13, 32, and 33. Nephilim is translated giants, And the thing is that after that, all the giants like Goliath and all of the Canaanite giants were called Rephaim. Rephaim, it comes from the Hebrew word, the root word Rapha, which means the dead. And, the thing that people don't understand is when the giants died, like when Goliath died, his half-fallen angel, human spirit, became a demon waiting to be reanimated. So what these people are telling you, Dave, is that which is in stasis, okay, is basically waiting for the go signal and to be reanimated. And here's the gist of it. God put those things out of the ability, or he hid from them, or hid from us, even the knowledge of it, and he loved his creation so much he didn't want these things to destroy it. And now the military is trying to animate this and be buddies with them and take the DNA of these giants of stasis. I want to make something clear. Giants are not human only. They have a life force. Their abilities, their mental abilities, they smell, they hunt by DNA. Fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman. And all of the limericks that come from the British Isles concerning the giants. But the giants are worldwide. Did some of the giants escape the flood in flying machines as the Vimanas? Did some of the giants actually live in hyperbaric chambers in certain areas of under the earth waiting for the waters to subside? The point being is that there's a lot we don't know, but unfortunately, Dave, the powers that be, the devils that are, those who are going to be given control of the earth for 42 months, times and a half, are basically incredibly evil. I think it was late David Spangler who made the statement that there's going to be nobody who enters into the new world or the new age who doesn't take the Luciferian initiation.
Exactly. You did say that.
So The Mystery of Ancient Nuclear War by Brent Swancer. It's a very interesting thing. It's on the Mysterious Universe site, The Mystery of Ancient Nuclear War, and this is not just at Mohenjo-Daro, Pakistan, or in some of the other areas. This is kind of a global thing because many of the sunken civilizations that Graham Hancock talked about in his book Underworld, there are specific areas in those, if you will, submerged ancient civilizations that give off a horrific radiological signature. Remember, nuclear weapons, some of this stuff has half-lives of 29,000 years, 14,000 years. So, when you're talking about a plutonium-based weapon, you're talking 29,000 years. That'll take you definitely beyond your grandfather's reign.